Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to WRDC's very first open house on the 38th International Women's Day here in St. John's. So thank you all for joining us again on this lovely morning. Such a special day for WRDC, the women's community, and of course our program participants. Very special thank you to the Premier. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Again, we're in a brand new location. This very room actually. So the theme, of course, for today is gaining momentum. This very room that you're sitting in certainly is gaining momentum. We had some staff activities this week. We did yoga this week, Zumba last week. We even had the strobe lights. And now today, all you wonderful people in this room with the Premier. So it's wonderful to have you all. So pleased to celebrate today. Absolutely gaining momentum. The women's in the trades and technology, WRDC, our work has been just fantastic. We're so very proud to be moving forward on some of the mega projects. So again, we'll pass it over to Nicole Kiley, our Executive Director.
Premier, partners, women, sisters, invited guests. On behalf of WRDC, I'd like to warmly welcome you to our office today. Today is a day of recognition and celebration, recognizing the work of partners and individuals who have contributed to the advancement of women in trades, technology, and operations. We're celebrating successes of WRDC's programs and services throughout all areas of the province, and we could not have picked a better day than International Women's Day to honor the work we do, to recognize the partners that support us, and to celebrate the women we work with. WRDC began with the conscious effort of dedicated women wishing to advance women's economic equality within the province's emerging and expanding natural resource sector. It's an honor to have with us today one of our founding members, Honorable Kathy Dunderdale, Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador, is here with us today. And later we'll offer a special token of thanks and appreciation for her immeasurable work in advancing economic equality for women in trades, technology, and operations. After WRDC's inception, we became known as a strong organization, connecting women and young girls to non-traditional opportunities, working with industry to create a diverse workplace through policy development and training. To this day, we continue to foster an environment that enables women to explore, enter, and succeed within trades and technology sectors of Newfoundland and Labrador. Our women not only see themselves in careers, but are now being trained, recruited, and thriving in these environments. Women are emerging themselves in roles that are well paid, that are empowering, and that spark personal passion. In 2012 alone, we have marked some significant milestones. We've seen our 187th go-kart built. We've seen our 600th graduate girl from our Techsploration program. We've seen our 50th orientation to the Trades and Technology program offering that we deliver in partnership with College of the North Atlantic. And we've also seen the successes. Our OTT, this program alone, has an impressive 76% success rate. Our ExxonMobil industry-sponsored Techsploration oriented to the Trades and Technology program, it's youth-based, it has an amazing 89% success rate. Women are moving into training opportunities, and we are helping them every step of the way. We're not only exposing and qualifying women to training and employment, but we are also supporting recruitment and retention for women entering into principal and non-principal trades. This year alone, we've created mentorship programs for 145 women working and training in all areas of the province. That includes St. John's, Clarenville, Burin, Marystown, Corner Brook, Seal Cove, Grand Fall Windsor, Bay St. George, Happy Valley Goose Bay, and many more. And we've offered services to over 17 trades and training campuses in all regions of the province. We have worked with industry to ensure workplace readiness. Within the last 2 years, we've worked with over 150 contractors and subcontractors in industry and offered comprehensive training interventions to large-scale employers in the mining and oil and gas industries. These companies are now reporting essential changes and shifts in their workplace culture regarding diversity and in their policies. Finally, We continue to offer support, services, network opportunities to clients in our database, which presently includes 2,469 clients, program alumni, and participants. We have much to celebrate and many to thank. Our successes must be collectively shared, and we are honored to have here today all of you as welcomed guests and as significant partners. I find it fitting to end my welcome with a quote from one of my favorite feminists, Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed people can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Thank you.
As Nicole mentioned, a special focus of today is our Orientation to Trades and Technology, or the Techsploration Trades and Technology program. Some of the program participants are here with us today. If you could raise your hand. Yay, hooray! So a good group of them. Of course, it's not the only program that we do have. We have several ones through the ERC that you'll see as you go around during reception as some of the highlights of the programs that we run. But again, in particular, recognizing the contribution of the OTT program, we have a very special speaker today. Her name is Victoria Murphy, and she was part of the 2012 Orientation to Trades and Technology program at the Prince Philip Drive campus. And she is going to speak on behalf of the group and a little bit about what she's been doing in her career and the impact that the program has had on her. So welcome, Victoria.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I was asked to say a few words about how the Orientation to Trades and Technology for Women impacted my life. I completed the program August 2012, and it changed my life forever. I never knew what I was going to do with the rest of my life, but OTT, the women I met, the teachers I had, the experience I had, I figured out what I wanted to be and the person I wanted to become. The 16-week program had us doing things such as carpentry, electrician, HVAC, welding, heavy equipment operator, so many things. The list goes on and on. Close to the end of the program, I sat to think what trade I would go for. I chose millwright. Every day after the OTT program, I come home, I would love every single trade I touched. Millwright, I get to do a little of everything. I started at the Carpenter's Millwright College in September, and I'm loving every second of it. I finished the millwright program in the beginning of May, and I am so excited to get out in the work world and get dirty. Thanks to the OTT and the WRDC teachers for teaching me new life skills and changing my life. I now have the opportunity and connections to succeed in life. Thank you.
It's now my pleasure to recognize a woman who throughout her career has pushed forward women's equality in the areas that have been otherwise unreachable and traditionally male-dominated. Women in Resource Development Corporation is pleased to recognize the Honourable Kathy Dunderdale, Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador, for her efforts of advancing women into trades, technology, operation industries. Ensuring industry's commitment in diversity is key in all efforts of advancing women. WRDC recognizes the Premier's essential role in negotiating and developing diversity and gender equity plans, without which none of the rest would follow. The creation of supports for women to get the necessary education towards trade is also key. And we also recognize her essential part in creating such opportunities for women. In particular, such supports as our OTT program. In addition to such supports, we recognize the Premier's development and commitment towards female apprenticeship subsidies, Journey Persons mentorship programs, and on and on. Also, the Premier's role in actively supporting the development of policy, training, and apprenticeship supports. We also recognize her leadership roles in the role of Minister of Natural Resources, Minister responsible for the status of women, and as well as her present role as Premier. Finally, with this recognition, honors the Premier's work in making Newfoundland and Labrador the leading team in our diversity strategies and models. We're not only leading the way with this country, but we're leading the way worldwide as a leading example and as a model. It is through all these efforts that WRDC today honors Premier Kathy Dunderdale as a feminist committed to advancing women's equality in trades, technologies, and operations. Thank you.
I'm torn. I do have notes, and I have notes for a reason when I do this kind of thing, because I'm so passionate about this kind of work and women's work and advancement of women that sometimes when I get talking, I lose track of time and I can go on and on and on. So, you know, the people around me encourage me sometimes to use notes because it's a way of keeping me under control. But let me begin by saying Happy International Women's Day, isn't it? It's always it's a wonderful day in the calendar, one where we all just stop and take a breath, have a look around and see where we are, celebrate the progress we've made, and make new resolution about what it is we need to do next. I love being in the company of women. I find it just fuels me because women are such drivers in our society. We're such an integral part of what happens. You know, for far too long, a lot of that work was rarely acknowledged, seldom honored. And as you know, recently we had our Ovations event, which addressed that. As we talked about during that wonderful day that we had together, that brought over 800 women from all around the province together to talk about women's place, where we've been, where we are, and where we need to get to, and how do we do that, and how do we support one another. And while acknowledging that women take different pathways to the same goal, so, you know, as a progressive conservative woman, I'm going to take a particular route to get where I think we ought to be as women. I respect and acknowledge that other people have other ideologies that give them a different form of transport, a different path to the same place. And when we do things like Ovations, what we decide to do as women is park some of the ideas that separate us in terms of which bus we're going to get on to go to the same destination, but talk about what it is we have in common, what it is that we need to be working towards, what are the values that we represent. Because the bottom line is we're all stronger, we're all better, community is better when there is social justice, when there is gender equality, when people have rights and can access the wealth of a community and so on. It was a wonderful, uplifting event. You know, we could have, we thought when we started to organize Ovations that we probably could bring together about 200 women from around the province. And we had to move it from one of the hotels. Then we had to go to Mile 1, and if we had our time back, we would have gone to Mile. We went to the convention center. We would have gone to Mile 1 because we had wait lists, and you know, we wanted it to be as inclusive as we can. We thought we would probably do this every second year because all of the support came from the corporate community. And but there's been so much pressure, and the response has been so phenomenal from across the province that our organizers are thinking that perhaps we might have to make it an annual event, which would be absolutely wonderful. But what it speaks to is how our message around women and the need for women to come together to honor and acknowledge the work that has been done and is ongoing, and to come together to talk about where it is we need to go to strengthen community, to strengthen relationships, is extremely, and we struck a nerve right across this province. The women responded in a way that was, you know, surprising to me, but exhilarating at the same time. And you know, it is out of that kind of self-awareness that kind of lens you put on community, that kind of assessment that you do about where women are and what it is we need to do, that work such as we're doing here in Women in Resource Development happens. You know, when I talk about Women in Resource Development Committee, and I was there from the beginning, I worked with the Provincial Advisory Council on the Status of Women at the time, that Brenda Grzetic, I think it's Dr. Brenda Grzetic now, came to the Advisory Council on the Status of Women with research that she had completed on the Hibernia project and how women had fared in that project. And we saw that while that was one of the biggest economic drivers, the biggest economic engines in the province at the time, women were virtually shut out of employment on that project. Less than 4% of the labour force on the Hibernia project were women. The numbers of women involved in trades and technology were so small we couldn't measure it. And we knew that Hibernia was the first, or we hoped, certainly, that Hibernia was the first of a number of projects that were going to happen in oil and gas development in this province. And that women couldn't be shut out. You know, we do all kinds of work around social justice, and we spend a lot of time talking about fairness and balance and having women have safe lives, particularly. And you know, social justice and economic justice, social justice, social fairness and economic fairness are interwoven. You can't separate one from the other. And if women are going to be truly free of violence, you know, if they're going to be able to look after themselves, they have to have access to the economic engines. We raise our sons, and rightly so, to look after, to have the ability to look after themselves and to look after their families. We have to raise our daughters in the same way. Absolutely. So whatever lens you put on, whether it's around social justice or economic justice, it will bring you to the same place. That our community is stronger, that men are stronger, that women are stronger, that families are stronger when you have that balance. So women had to have access to those economic engines here in the province. So when we saw what happened in Hibernia, we thought we have to do something else to make sure, something other than we're doing in our colleges now, or doing in our universities, doing with our different programs that spoke to education and training, preparing young people for employment. We had to do something differently. And so a group, as Margaret Mead talked about, a small group of women came together and led by Brenda Grzetic and the Advisory Council on the Status of Women. Leslie, you were there at the time. Groups like WISE, other people who had an interest in community and this kind of thing. And we wrote proposals, we slaved for quite some time. We applied to the federal government. And, you know, at that time, you know, we were very bold and we did the work. We knew it had to be based on a solid foundation of research and that the analysis had to be very good and the argument had to be very strong. But, you know, there's always that part, you know, the doubter is, you're wondering. And, you know, it was astonishing to us when we got funded through the LMDA. It was a happy day. And, you know, the fact that, you know, a group of about 12 women had leveraged out over $1 million to start this Women in Resource Development Committee. And we forged a relationship with the College of North Atlantic and Women in Trades and Technology. The national organization had developed protocols for teaching women around trades and technology, and we formed a relationship with them, and we all partnered up, and Women in Resource Development was born. And it's been a pretty exciting journey since then. And so to go out there and look on the wall and see the names of all of the women who have accessed this program and gone on has been truly amazing. You know, when I was doing that work, and I've said this to some of you before, never in my wildest dreams at that time did I ever think that I would be Minister of Natural Resources when we started to talk to, Hebron, a huge development offshore. And so all of that experience became part of the negotiations around the agreement. And so for the first time in the history of Canada, and we believe in the history of the world, there were gender and diversity agreements, clauses negotiated in the Hebron Agreement, which I'm pretty darn proud of, I'm going to say. So it's important to keep that lens on all the time and never discount. And while you're getting your face dirty, young woman, never discount what you're learning, what you learned here, what you're learning in the workplace and so on, because you never know when you're going to be able to reach back and pull that out and use it in some kind of way that's not only going to help you, but help others all around you. And it's great work, and I thank all of you. I mean, there's been so many women involved in this program over the years, and all so committed to the advancement of women and to the advancement of Newfoundland and Labrador. Because when we you know, what is it? A rising tide lifts all boats. You know, when you have balance in your community, when you have balance in your property, when we use all the resources that are available to us to make this place thrive and grow, then, you know, our chances of achieving success become so much greater. So never minimize your contribution, because it's significant in ways perhaps that you may never appreciate, or you won't know for a very long time to come. So I want to thank everyone who supports this program. I want to thank everybody who engages in the program and passes on their own experience, good or bad, because, you know, we need to understand where we need to strengthen and how we need to do things differently. We're not afraid of those kinds of critiques. I'm thankful for the honor that you've given me here today. It means a lot. It means a great deal. So thank you very much.